You wake up to the sound of a beeping, a soft 3-note chime clipping continuously from across the room. The light on the monitor at the desk blinks idly in the dim glow of the apartment, signaling a notification. The grim light of a rainy Rookmire day peeks in through the crevices of the dirt and soot-covered window. You can hear the faint grumbling of the factory machinery of Shipping Center C to the west. Now, I'm going to give you 3 beats to spend however you want throughout this day. The way that you can spend a day is like, I want to do X thing, is like, I want to go and explore this part of the map, talk to these people, and I can tell you whether or not that's going to cost a full beat, a beat and a half a beat, but essentially, you have to time out your day to where you spend these 3 beats.
Okay.
What she would notice is that as she wakes up, she realizes that this thing is emitting a signal. So what time do you think she would have woken up?
Maybe it would have been in the evening?
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
That's kind of a sketch time to go over to that side of town, though.
Oh, right. Well.
Could be maybe early hours of the next morning. Okay, so what does the beacon look like when it comes in? Does it just, like, how does it visually manifest?
Kind of like a diagram of the street view, but kind of like not fully filled in, and then a blinking dot. And then, like, she probably tries to, like, figure out, okay, what is this thing? And then realizes that this thing's a map. And, if she goes and tries to, like, hunt down that signal, like, or connects with that signal, she would get the address that it's coming from, and it would be coming from, her mother's old flat.
So that beacon or that information, she's being led to believe that it's being sent from equipment in her mother's old house.
Right.
Okay.
But I can kind of picture, like, looking at the screen, almost the kind of, like, flat green LED color of, like, a map, but, like, squares for, like, the buildings, and being like, wait a minute, this is, like, a street view, but what's it a street view of? You know?
Okay. Yeah, I think she would try to look for the signal at that point.
Okay.
Probably with some intention to plot some package down on the computer, and then she realizes that it's coming from an unexpected location.
Okay.
Is there anything else there for her to dig into or investigate? Like any handles that are attached to whoever sent the signal?
Let's do our first roll of the day. Go ahead and roll for me.
I rolled Oh, almost fell over.
Don't do that.
16.
16, okay. Well, that's pretty good. So, I think that there would definitely be some kind of signifier on this, and I might need to ask you to help me out a little bit about, like, what are some of the ways that you can kind of connect somebody's style for hacking, because I haven't had a chance to kind of explore this yet.
See, I guess my question, what I'm trying to figure out is it possible that they could have sent it virtually through the computer from a different computer elsewhere? Or was somebody actually physically at that location using that computer? And so that's what she would be trying to figure out, is did they just bridge to her mother's equipment? Or is it
That's a good question.
Physically coming from that one?
Okay, with a 16, I think you would be able to tell that this is a signal that would be coming directly from her mother's flat. It hasn't been bridged from another place.
Okay. I see. So someone was physically at that computer.
They would have to have been.
Okay, that's super spooky.
I'm
gonna swing by the police station.
I'm gonna turn myself in.
Not turn myself in. I need to hire some muscle.
Okay. I mean, that is a beat. You could spend your time going to the police station.
I would not go to the police station for that. No, I was just joking.
Okay, fair enough.
She could take Leaky with her.
Take who?
Her Tibby dog.
Oh, yeah. That's such a cute name.
Leaky Tail means good luck.
So, Leaky Tail is based off of a German Shepherd Chow Chow mix. He's about a medium-large size breed. He's all black, no markings, with little pointed ears. He's really fluffy, and he's got a poofy tail that he can carry over his back, kind of like a chow does, but he can also carry it kind of low, like a shepherd. He's got really fluffy feet, and he's also very fluffy.
Yeah, so she would probably take her dog with her, because she doesn't really have anybody else that she would take with her.
So she's going on a walk with the doggo.
Since she's going to be over in that part of the neighborhood, I'm wondering if she might stop at Parts and Pieces to talk to Rennigan about any latest technology he might have.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a question. Where is her mom and brother buried?
Ah, that is a very good question. So I would actually ask, would they have been turned to ash, would they have been incinerated, or would they have been buried?
I don't know. I can't imagine that they were left with very much money.
Yeah.
So I feel like they might have been, well, but Alice did steal money from Meadows.
So do you think she probably would have put a little bit aside to bury them?
Yeah.
Okay. Then most likely, like, Ashhampton would be where they would have been buried. It's not a very expensive place to be buried.
Yeah, and it's pretty close.
Oh, yeah. Great place to start out, too.
So I feel like she, she's obviously been trying to avoid the fact that she's lost her mom and brother. And so she has the intention of going to the apartments, but I have a feeling that with this whole thing being brought up, it kind of forces her to remember that, this happened.
Yeah.
And there might be, like, some sentimental reason why she might take Leaky over to Ashhampton to visit their grave sites before then going to the apartments. And maybe because it's so early in the morning, she's like, I can't stay here in the apartment anymore because I'm going to lose my mind, but it's also really dark and sketch outside, and there might be somebody still in my apartment.
Okay.
But that being said...
is that a concern for her, that there's somebody in her apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't know who it is, it could be somebody who...
who knows where she is, right?
Or it could hurt her or catch her,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. I think it's safe to assume that they know who she is if they know what happened to her mom and brother, right? It's kind of like one of those scenarios where she recognizes that she's at a strategic disadvantage.
Okay.
She knows nothing about who is sending these messages, who is actually able to remotely control her computer right now, which that's a concern that before she leaves her apartment, she might want to set up some restrictions where she can still catch messages maybe on a virtual machine or something. I don't know if this is actually possible, but
I think it's totally feasible.
Or she'll set up like a virtual machine within her computer that will still like basically mimic the machine that they were reaching out to, but can't control her computer remotely. Or maybe it would make it a little bit more difficult for them to control. So
almost making like a false computer, like cloning her computer and leaving it there, so to speak, but then removing all the essential files. I can almost picture her like, that might be a good reason to visit Ren again, is to ask for like, hey, I need to get some spare parts, so that I can build myself a secondary.
That's a really good point,
PC.
There's, if virtual machines are a thing that they can do, then she could set up a virtual machine within her computer.
Yeah.
To handle that. That will basically act like its own separate computer. That's the idea of the virtual machine. It acts as its own separate entity within the entity itself. Because she still wants to be able to receive the communications, but she doesn't want them to have control over the primary aspects of her computer. So
I have a suggestion, and this could be very interesting, is that she essentially sets up this virtual machine to like print the messages. Almost like a fax machine?
Yeah.
But like a fax machine that has a fake location and fake control.
Right, exactly. That's the idea. I like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you roll for a programming, essentially a programming roll.
2.
Okay.
Computer explodes. Time to see Ren again, I guess.
So I think with that outcome, you were trying to kind of set up this virtual computer, and I think that, like, it's the virtual component of it that you're finding some difficulty with, and maybe it's just that, like, the parts you're working with and the pieces that you have at your disposal maybe are not the best, and not the fastest, so maybe it's time for an upgrade or something, but, like, the virtual component of it is giving you some difficulty. Given enough time, and probably more parts, you could make a clone computer, essentially, and remove your computer from the target, so to speak, that it's currently under.
Okay. So in the meantime, she would probably turn all of that off and unplug it from the wall?
Ooh, being safe.
Yeah.
Okay. Once she's turned off all that stuff and unplugged everything, is there anything else you think she might do before she heads out?
Smoke a cigarette.
That's fair.
Okay. And I think she's gonna go ahead and take Leaky with her to the Ashampton.
Okay.
Would that be like a half beat to visit the...
Yeah, that's gonna be a half beat.
Would it be another half beat to stop at Three Corners?
Three Corners Pub? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many beats would it be to visit Rennigan?
Okay, what time is it? It's probably about...
Early morning.
Early morning? Yeah, it's only gonna be a half beat to stop at the pub, because there's probably not a whole lot of people there right now. To stop at Rennigan's, it's gonna be a beat.
Okay. And I'm assuming it would be a beat to visit her mom's apartment, right?
Yeah, if you choose to go there.
Okay, so she's probably gonna go ahead and walk.
It's a long walk, yeah.
From Astrid's apartment. She's gotta go down the street, make a turn left, make a turn right.
Yeah, it's probably like a 2-mile walk, do you think?
Okay.
It's up there. It's not a short walk, but I mean, you can do it in a reasonable amount of time.
I don't think she has a car.
No, probably not.
Are there skateboards?
No, there's no skateboards.
Damn it.
Nice try, really pushing that punk rock feel, eh? So,
I can't see her riding a bicycle,
no,
can
I
you?
can't.
Okay.
You exit the apartment, and you're greeted with a very, as per the usual, it's a very gray day here in Rookmire.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. It's fairly cold. You can feel, or you can see your breath misting in front of you. And as per the usual, it is raining soot, especially in this part of the city.
So she definitely unfurls a black umbrella.
That's fair. That is definitely fair.
Nothing happens to Leaky because he's all black anyway.
And he just get covered. Well, it's probably like that gray, kind of gross grime that is just covering
Delightful.
everything. Yeah, and like...
He should have a little jacket.
Oh, cute! Does he also have little doggy booties?
Oh my god! I feel like you would hate them though, like you'd constantly try to rip them off.
So you head outside of the apartment, and one of your neighbors, I think at this point you don't even know their name, but they give you a dirty look and head back inside the second they see you.
Of course they do.
Yeah, they're just like, like, and like, I get the sense the feeling's probably mutual.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, there's not really a lot of people out right now, because this is kind of the normal working hour. This is when most people around this time are working at the factories. So, you head, do you see Alice is living upstairs? Or downstairs?
Yes, she definitely climbs like 3 flights of stairs.
Okay, so you make that, grueling climb. Actually, it's downstairs, so it's not so bad. You make that climb downstairs, are greeted with the lovely visage of your very flat gray apartment. And, you can see across from you, just past the mixing house, is the lazy dog park. And the trees there are sad. You're not even sure that you could call this a park. They're kind of these withered little bare trees that... Well,
when dogs keep peeing on them,
yeah,
you'd be sad too.
Yeah, you would also be a withered little gray husk, right? You head down the street past the mixing house, which, a rough-looking bar, by all measures of the word. One of the windows...
Like a dive bar?
Yeah, but it looks like last night somebody busted out one of the windows. It looks like maybe somebody threw something through it. And you walk past the mixing house and turn the corner, and, going down that way, you can kind of see the bathhouse, and this is one of the...
she can't take a peek in through the window to see what they threw through it?
Do you want to go look through the window?
Kinda.
Okay.
I don't want to waste too much time, though.
Okay. You peek through the window, and you can see that, the bar owner is, sweeping up glass, and go ahead and roll for me I guess this would be a perception. Go ahead and roll a perception, right?
I rolled a 9.
A 9? Okay. This is not too hard to see the situation that's going on. There's a brick to the side. Somebody threw a brick through this window, and the shop owner is cursing under his breath as he sweeps up glass. Up to you whether or not you want to strike up conversation, but he does not look in a particularly pleasant mood.
What would Astrid do? I know my natural curiosity has me wanting to ask, but I feel like... Okay, do I know anything about, like, local drama going on?
There is a lot of it.
Because, okay, so, like, the mixing house is really close to her apartment. It's, like, within walking distance. I could see her picking that place before going to her apartment. So,
it's probably a usual spot for you if you go out to drink.
And then their lazy dog park is, like, right there.
Yeah, unless you go to Three Corners Pub.
Well, I can see her more often going to the mixing house.
Okay.
Because it's right there.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very much right there.
So I'm wondering, is there anything that she might have heard while she was there, that she might have picked up on, that she could feasibly, potentially make an assumption or connect with the brick through the window?
Like the local clientele sort of situation? Like...
Yeah. Like, are there certain gangs that visit there, or some conflict that took place, or something that people had mentioned or were talking about?
So I want you to roll just a general knowledge check for me.
10.
Yeah, so based off of, like, a 10, you'd probably know that, like, arguments are pretty common in this area. Like, not the most, like, fine upper class kind of crust location. You know, you guys are fairly close to the factories and, you know, the much lower class areas. So it's pretty common for there to be fights in this kind of area. But for somebody to come and throw something through the window, like a fight just breaking out and somebody like punches each other, like that is common. But for somebody to target the bar, particularly, is a little bit strange. Like, you know, normally these kinds of areas are places where you come together, and targeting it is a bit abnormal.
Yeah, it seems like something that some gang would do.
Maybe a gang, maybe somebody who, cracked and was like, maybe was on something for the night. But it is something that is like, seems kind of like a territorial dispute.
Would there be gangs that visited this bar that she would be aware of?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like if she was going to say something or ask something, she would, like, say, like, oh, is it, you know, the such and such boys, question mark?
Yeah.
You know, like, was this, you know, the gang that's kind of in control, or was in control of this bar, or is attacking the gang that was in control of this bar, question mark?
This bar is not necessarily controlled by a gang so much, more so that, like, one frequents this area. So, like, if somebody came by and threw something through the window, maybe it was the other gang that is opposing them that was like, fuck you.
Okay, I think she would just kind of throw this out there. It's like, brick, real original, huh?
I think you startle him, and he curses lividly, and turns around really quickly, like, aiming the broom handle at you, and then goes, Now, she would go under Alice here, or would she go under Astrid?
Astrid.
It was Astrid. Yeah, they're coming up with some new ones, aren't they? You coming for a drink?
Thinking I was planning for 3 corners, but yeah, actually, sure.
So you're actually
Steps
coming
through the broken window. You know, this would make a pretty nice entrance, to be honest with you. Might save on replacing the window.
He gives a long-suffering look at the window, and he's like, it's gonna cost an arm and a leg to fix it. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should just leave the damn thing open.
She holds her arms out to the side. It could be the new grand entrance. The remodeled mixing house. Kind of like glances around the room with her arms out like she's like showcasing the new entry.
There is a particularly loud clap of lightning overhead as you see that. And it makes him look a little spooked for a second. And then he looks over at Leaky and he's like, points to like where parts of the glass are still on the floor. He's like, mind where you step. And walks behind the counter and kind of gesticulates and he's like, well, you have.
Oh, the usual. What's his name, by the way? I'm assuming she knows.
His name is Newell.
Newell, okay. She says, you know, the usual, if you don't mind, and then as she says that, she heads over to the actual door and opens it for Leaky. Who's like, I'm not jumping through that.
He like stares at jagged glass. No,
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You may be crazy, but I'm not.
Well, that's why she keeps him.
Yeah.
Gotta level it out.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it is probably also fairly common for people to bring dogs into this bar, so it's probably not
it's right
at
by
all
the dog
unusual.
park.
Yeah, and like dogs are common in this world, you know, especially.
Well, there's actually a local dive bar where they always have a couple of dogs that always frequent.
Yeah.
So I've seen it.
And like in a lot of ways, just to give you a little bit of insight into some of this background of this area, a lot of people in this area keep them for protection.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's pretty common for people to go walking around with their dogs and to stop by the bar. Bars in this area.
Yeah.
So what do you think her usual is? Is it just a straight up drought? Nice dark beer?
Oh, dang, that's a good question, because it is in the morning,
Yeah.
right? And usually she's there in the evening, probably.
Yeah.
And she would probably get something that was like as much as an up as it is a down. But
Okay.
it's the morning. So she's gonna, actually...
I don't think they've started making Red Bulls mixed with vodka yet, boo.
They have something comparable, right?
I don't think energy drinks exist yet, but they probably have, like, coffee mixed with, like, whiskey or something like
Gross.
that. What do you mean gross? Good old Irish whiskey.
Ugh. That's what she gets.
Yeah, I could see her getting that. He starts mixing it up for you. Goes, feeling adventurous today, are you?
Every day, Noel, every day.
He sets it down, slides it over to you, and you realize he's poured you a nice double.
Oh, you're the best. She goes ahead and pays him double.
Aw. He goes, no, you. Gives her a wink and slides the money into the...
She cheers in the air to him. She takes a sip. Bon appetit.
He takes a swig behind the counter as well with her.
Excellent. Perfect.
And then goes back to sweeping the glass. You realize very quickly you are the only person in here, aside from one other person, who is passed out face down on the table. In the corner. And you can hear the occasional... But Newell has just left him there. Just left it off. You can hear the glass kind of scrape against the floor as he goes back to sweeping, and he's like, You're out early today, are you?
I guess. Schedule's all over the place these days. Hey, what happened with this brick? What's going on? Who do we gotta go beat up? Leaky and I are ready.
I don't know. Some troublemaker came by the other night. Heard, made a sound that... He kind of, like, rubs the back of his neck. He's like, I don't think I've ever heard a sound quite like that before. Screaming like a banshee.
She makes a face and lights a cigarette. Mm. Whoa.
Points a thumb over to the brick, and he's like, then this thing came coming through the window, damn near scared all my clientele out.
Screaming like a banshee. It sounds like somebody to come out of Hearts.
Yeah, you're telling me. And I want you to roll a perception check for me real quick.
Okay. 18.
The expression when you say that name, he goes pale for a second and looks like he just tasted something horrible. and looks down quickly to his work, and you see he kind of, like, his body language kind of closes off a little bit.
Okay. Interesting. No, can I ask what this person looked like?
I want you to roll a persuasion for me.
Okay. 11.
11. I don't think that he would be particularly reticent about this, but, given the prior mention, he looks kind of uncomfortable and shrugs a little bit, and he goes, I don't reckon anybody got a very clear look at him. They were here a second and then gone. We were all just kind of going about our day, and then this thing came through the window and heard them shrieking. What a sound.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Sip, sip, sip.
Yes, quite. Awkward sipping. He clears his throat awkwardly and goes back to sleeping. He's never been the best of a talker. You know, as far as bartenders go, he's used to a very gruff clientele that don't require a whole lot of being suave in your communication. Mm-hmm. So he kind of looks awkwardly down to the glass he's cleaning up and starts swooping it up into the holder.
She's definitely tucking away in the back of her mind his expression and the way that his body language closed off when she brought up hearts, but she's aware that this is probably not the time to pursue it.
Okay, yeah.
She's like, I gotta make a mental note to remember that.
So, what you on about today, eh? Got big plans?
You know what? To be honest with you, I thought, and I don't know if I actually will, but I was thinking I might go visit my mom and bro.
He looks genuinely surprised, and he blinks a little bit, and
yeah, I know, right?
Straightens up and
shrugs and takes another suck of her cigarette.
Now, why'd you go and do a thing like that? I don't know. The dead should stay dead.
Yeah, I know. I thought so too, but just someone's just kind of pulling me that way, you know. You ever feel that? No, come on, you've got some wisdom.
I've had feelings like that. You know what's best to do about them? Turn around, scurry your ass the opposite direction. Ain't nothing good ever comes from dredging up the dead.
Yeah, but, I don't know. We might end up like that screaming fool. Holy... Why is he still here? Like, you don't run a hotel, Newell. You want me to get rid of this for you?
Boy, I'd like to see you try.
Alright, hey, Leaky.
Ain't no way you could pick that buffoon up.
Leaky, I'm not picking
Nah,
him
nah, come on.
Leaky, go wake him up.
He's a regular, come on.
He can't walk his own ass out.
Astrid, please. He brings in a good amount.
He's interrupting my conversation with you.
Yeah, he goes over and he nudges the guy, and the guy goes, I don't like potatoes, though.
What?
Hey,
doesn't like potatoes?
Sam, come on, man. You've got a shift tonight. You gotta go, man. And Sam kind of blinks blearily at him and rests his head back on the table.
Oh my word. The disrespect is real. Say
Newell shrugs. I'm used to it.
No, like when people don't respect you, they go and throw bricks through your window. What am I gonna do with you?
Well, you could,
How many more windows you got?
You could pay me for another double.
Yeah, but then I'll be waddling down to the cemetery and I'll end up where Rookmire's folly instead. You know that.
Hey, if you're going to visit the dead, it's better on a double.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You make a good point, but I need my senses around me today. But I'll come back for one tonight. How about that?
I'll hold you to that.
That's fair. And, I'd like to swap some stories with you sometime.
Yeah. You're always welcome here, Astrid.
Thanks, Newell. Alright, Leaky. We gotta get going.
He tips his hat to you and goes back to cleaning up the rest of the glass.
She gives a little salute.
Alright, so you head back out into the gray rain that is falling.
Umbrella time.
I think by now it's also, from your short walk down, it's probably been coated in a fine layer of soot already.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can see it collecting on Leaky's fur.
Gross.
Yeah, he's gonna need a bath later.
Always. Every damn day.
Yeah. In this city, absolutely. Very hard to stay clean.
Probably smart people own Rottweilers, Dobermans, and Pit Bulls.
Just a quick scrub down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright, so where are you heading to next?
Well, she's gonna go ahead and head on over to the... Yeah, she's gonna go ahead and visit. That's a half beat, right? Half beat at the mixing house, half beat at the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna go ahead and head on over to the cemetery. You know, on the way there, are there like any wildflowers anywhere, or is it pretty dead everywhere?
In this part of the city, it's pretty dead.
Is there a pretty rock on her way that she would find?
You know what? Roll to find a pretty rock.
Okay. 7.
Okay. You know, most of the rocks here are pretty grungy and covered in kind of black soot. I think at one point you pick up something that you thought might be a good rock, but it turns out it was like a little piece of coal. And so you like flick that down, and it's like, ugh, really. And you end up like kind of settling for a rock that just kind of looks interesting.
No, I think she'd take the coal.
You take the coal? Okay.
She's gonna take the coal.
It's like a little
I
lump
have
of
an
coal.
idea.
Okay.
No, I have an idea.
Okay.
Because it could work kind of like charcoal, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
you can add to your inventory a lump of coal.
Perfect.
Okay. Are you heading down the street?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of continue down the street, and because of the hour, it's not very busy in the streets right now. And so you pass the bathhouse, and there's probably not a whole lot of people there. And this bathhouse is not a very nice bathhouse. Do you think Astrid's ever been in one of these bathhouses? This one in particular?
It's like a public bathing area, right?
Yeah.
I cannot see her visiting a bathhouse.
Okay. So you probably have no idea what it looks like inside, but based on the people you've seen go inside, you know it's not a very high-end bathhouse.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you continue down the road past the train tracks? Okay, so you continue down the road, do that little turn, and head down. You pass over the train tracks. In the distance, you can hear the train going. There's several that circle around Rookmire and just kind of do, a steady route, and they kind of intersperse it. It sounds like at this time, there's probably one around Hearts right about now. So that would be about to, the east-ish. You pass over the train tracks and past the Three Corners pub, which, if the mixing house... by comparison, the mixing house has high standards, right?
Yeah, okay.
Three Corners pub is, half of the walls are kind of, nailed back together with found wood.
Oh, it's got character.
Character's a nice way to put it. There's actually a hole in one part of the roof that, has pretty much always been there as long as you could remember.
Good for stargazing. That's stars you can't see.
Yeah, if one could see stars in Rookmire,
it's
right?
It's good for imaginary stargazing.
It's good for if you want a brief shower,
Okay.
From
soot
rain.
Shower?
A soot shower from rain that rolled across the, what few shingles exist on the pub, down
Gross.
into the pub. And there's pretty much a perpetual basin that is underneath this hole in the roof. It's just like they're never gonna fix the hole in the roof, but they have the basin there, I guess, to catch the water.
That would make for a lot of drunken pranks.
There's probably been many, and, when a fight breaks out, throwing somebody into the soot bucket in the corner is quite an offense, because then they're wet, and they're covered in soot, and they're drunk. And it's just a horrible experience.
Go there when you want to see a good shit show. Got it.
It's exactly, that is the shit show place. So you head down across the tracks that actually lead to the train yard, in and out of the train yard. I don't think that Astrid's ever been in the train yard, probably.
Well, this is over by the police station, right?
The train yard's over by the morgue.
It depends on if she ever did any jobs investigating there?
Actually, a fair point. There may have been one or two. So, in that
If there was ever a murder at the bathhouse that she had to investigate, then that would have put her in there. So those are the only reasons I could think that she might have gone there.
That's fair. So the train yard in particular, you've probably been there at least once, and some of the trains that are closer to the front of the train station are the newer ones that tend to get used pretty often. But closer towards the part of the train yard that is closely adjacent to the ocean, those trains have kind of started to rot. And so they kind of cast this very eerie, half-broken, distorted silhouette that is usually, like, half cast in fog that rolls in from the ocean.
Okay.
And they're kind of just these broken down old lumps of metal that are closer to the ocean side.
Okay.
So you pass over those train tracks, and you kind of pass some of the apartments that sit outside of the Gatterstein police station.
Mm-hmm.
These apartments are not the greatest. They house quite a number of the Gatterstein police officers, and it is fairly close to the Ashhampton Cemetery. So probably yet another reason you don't particularly like to come down here. You know, there's police officers that kind of chill around these parts. You finally, after quite a walk, arrive to the Ashhampton Cemetery, and a really good word for it is bedraggled. The ground here is mushy, and there's several large trees, but they don't really have a whole lot of leaves to them. And the long, kind of knotted and furled boughs are coated in long, hanging strips of, for lack of a better word, goop. Black goop.
Gross.
Yeah. And you know that some of this is because it's so close to the river that runs down this part.
But it's also close to the Thirsty Trio.
Yeah, and when that wind shifts, the ash comes this way instead.
Nice.
And kind of lands in a very fitting name for the Ashhampton Cemetery.
Okay. Look, it's snowing people.
Yep, it's snowing people is a very good way of putting it. There's still people essentially kind of draped over the trees, you know, because goo.
That's one way to get into the Ashhampton without paying for a plot.
That's
Cheers. Fuck capitalism.
nice work, guys. Yeah. So you pass through. There were these very large, kind of time-twisted wrought iron gates set on a stone base, and the stone base is kind of sinking. You realize. You're not sure if that's a new thing that just started happening, or if that's always been happening, but they seem to be kind of sinking a little bit.
Gross.
Yeah, kind of soft ground over here.
Okay. I wonder what's under the cemetery. Besides people. Besides dead people.
That's fair. Fair question.
Okay, so where is her mom and brother? I feel like they would be buried next to each other.
Okay. How much money do you think she was able to put towards getting them a grave?
Enough to have an actual headstone, other than just a plaque.
Alright, so I think that they would be, I think she probably would have picked a place that is nestled into one of the corners. I would say maybe one of the corners closer to either the railroad or the funeral home. I want to say the railroad because it's a little bit more isolated, and the only thing you really have to contend with is the occasional train going to and from the train yard. So I would say maybe she picked a little isolated corner up by the railroad, and it's kind of sheltered by one of the larger trees.
Okay, I can see that. How are the headstones looking? They still got the markings and stuff in them?
They still have the markings. They're looking kind of grimy. How long do you think it's been since she's visited these?
Probably not since they were buried.
Okay, so yeah, they're probably pretty grimy.
Is there anything around them, or just they're completely bare?
It is bleakly empty. And I think for a moment, Astrid finds herself standing there, kind of like in the middle of this little cemetery where there's nobody else. and the rain is kind of falling around her, and all of the graves here, really, are kind of bleakly bare.
It bothers her that they're so gross looking.
Yeah.
Like, my first instinct is like, is there anything she has that could clean?
She could rub Dago on grave.
Well, actually, I was thinking maybe she could steal his
coat.
I gotta use this for a second.
Do you think she'd be wearing a scarf of some kind? It's not abnormal for people to wear something that they can cover their mouth with when they're walking through parts of the city, especially these parts of the city. It's just a little bit of a matter of preference.
Could she use the coal to mark the headstones in any way? Or is it, like, pointless because they're so gross?
You might have to clean them off first.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see her wearing a scarf, and I have a hard time seeing her rob Leaky of his coat. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's say. I can't see her stealing Leaky's jacket.
I think it would be kind of cool to, like, make some kind of mark on the corner of the headstones.
Okay. To be fair, this doesn't have to be the only time that she visits these graves. So if it's something that you want to come back to...
Well, so here's her thought as well, is that whoever got into her mom's apartment may also know where they're buried.
Mm-hmm.
They may have already checked the headstones and seen that there was nothing marked on them, but if they'd come back to check, I wanted to leave something at the headstones.
Ah.
Not just as a memento to the dead, because in her mind, logically, they're dead.
Yeah.
But somebody's like, you know, this might like a mark like, hey, I'm paying attention, and not just in the singular ways you might think.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
But I think she'll also keep what's left of her lump of coal.
Okay, so she's going to leave a mark on the grave.
Yeah, like it could be something like 2 dashes or like an equal sign. I like the idea like an equal sign on the top of both of them.
Okay.
Equality for all.
Okay. So you leave these 2 little dashes on the tops of the graves. Was she going to try to clean them off, or is she going to leave them as is?
Yeah, I think by the time she cleans them off, they'll be covered again, because it's raining soot.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like she would run it over the top, like 2 equal signs on both. She would run it over pretty ingrained.
Okay.
So that it might stand out as a different texture.
Okay.
Does Leaky go and find something? Because that would be really cute if he came over with something.
I want you to roll for me.
Fetch check?
I want you to roll a perception check for me.
Oh no.
What'd you get?
I'm dumb as a prick of rocks.
Oh no! Did you get a 1?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, what is hard to get a 1? Okay. It takes you a moment to notice that Leaky is not at your side when you're standing at the grave anymore. And you turn around and you're like, where the heck did he go? And you find him, he's like digging in the mud.
Oh, gross.
And so you call him back over, and he trots over and he's kind of covered in mud.
You can't dig up dead people. We talked about this.
He tilts his head and goes,
What? I can get you a bone at the store? You can't eat people bones?
He doesn't look remorseful at all. There must be good pickings here.
Gross. Let's get out of here before anyone accuses us of grave robbing. I don't know why. I don't know if I should be disturbed that you like the taste of people, or disturbed by the fact that I'm pleased. I'm not sure.
Maybe a bit of both.
A little bit of both.
He looks notably happier. And Shop's next to you.
Does he have anything in his mouth? Did he take something?
Mm-hmm.
Can I go look at the hole?
No, miss 1 perception.
Sad day.
As far as you are concerned, he was covered in mud. You're gonna have a mess to clean up later.
I'm just gonna dunk him in the river on my way home.
We just dip.
I mean, I should go check the hole in case there's like a little floating rib bone or something. I could just chuck it in the river.
Hey, maybe he didn't even dig a whole hole.
Yeah, well, I can't know because I'm a dum-dum.
You a big old dum-dum.
Sad day. day.
All right, so
She's like, this place is giving me the creeps. I'm done. I'm depressed. I did my thing. I'm out. Noel was right.
hey, you know what? When you're right, you're right.
We left our mark. Let's go. To Renegans.
He barks at you and trots along next to you.
Yeah, really cute. We keep this between us, okay, little guy? Now I know what to get you for Christmas.
So you probably don't go back up across the tracks. You probably head, I know the road's not on there on the map, but you could kind of head down a path towards Parts and Pieces from here. So
Okay.
I think you probably would likely go that route. Downside
that would
is
make a lot of
that,
sense.
yeah, the downside is that it's not super great neighborhood. But upside is that it's still kind of in the early day.
On your toes, Leaky.
He looks very serious now. The tongue that was like lolling out the side of his mouth gets sucked in, and he closes his
Like,
mouth. And,
closed mouth, yeah.
He gets serious.
Super
face.
focused. Serious face, yeah. I love that. That's definitely a doggo thing.
Yeah, big doggo thing. So yeah, it's pretty much a straight walk down that way, towards Renegans. So I'd say you probably are not going to be necessarily heckled by anyone at this time of day. So the walk kind of goes pretty quietly, maybe eerily quietly. I think by the time you get there, your doggo's pretty wet, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like they'd probably be used to that.
Yeah, probably here in the city, yeah. I mean, I imagine the dog breeds that are bred in the city are bred for that kind of weather, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Short-haired dogs are probably a lot more common.
Yeah.
I imagine people would make comments about it. Like, why would you have a...
Why on earth would you pick a line? I can imagine you try to brush him, and it brushes the suit deeper into his coat.
Well,
and
no,
it's
you
like,
gotta bathe
oh.
them first and then brush them.
Yeah. Really bathe him. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You probably spend the majority of your life giving him baths. Anyway, yeah.
She just locks him in the bathroom with a tub.
You just do what you want in there.
You just go clean yourself.
I don't want to deal with that right now. Alright, so you leave Ashhampton Cemetery behind. I want you to roll a perception check for me.
I'm scared. Oh my god. I rolled a 3.
A 3? Okay. As you put the cemetery behind you, you know that feeling when the hair stands up on the back of your neck? You get that feeling.
She would be looking over her shoulder and head would go on a swivel. I imagine Leaky would pick up on it.
I imagine she probably, at some point, looks at him, right?
Yeah.
And you notice that, like, his fur is kind of standing on end a little bit, too.
Hackles are up.
It's hard to tell whether or not it's because of something in the environment or if it's because of your behavior, though. Because there's nothing around you.
Right.
It is quiet, aside from the sound of the rain.
Just the heebie-jeebies, Leaky. I can't imagine, though, like... There's not really enough, I feel like, for her to, like...
Linger.
Yeah.
That's
If
fair.
anything, she'd probably just, like, walk a little
Scurry.
casually faster.
Scurry quickly, yeah.
No, not scurry. I was gotta save face. It would just be a casual quickening of the pace. Like,
Okay, that's
I
fair.
don't know. I don't like how I feel, but I'm not gonna look weak because it's the weak baying fawn that gets eaten.
So you leave Ashhampton Cemetery behind you, probably feeling a little bit better once it disappears on your horizon. You are passing the Broken Thread. It's a little tailoring shop. It's owned by a lady named Liz, and she's very particular about doing her repairs, right? And you can tell by, like, even just looking inside the business as you pass, like, the things, like the curtains, for example, they're worn, but they're clean. As clean as can be in this city. So, you know, it's a little bit of a worn little shop owned by Liz, and you pass by that and head to Parts and Pieces, which, by contrast, not very clean. There's
Home sweet home.
yeah, there's lots of heaps of boxes full of technology and parts,
crammed onto shelves, crammed with more parts and pieces, hence the name. And it looks like there's been several shipments since the last time you've been in, and none of it has been categorized or organized.
Sick. Discounted, extra discount. If you can find it, it can be discounted. If you know what it is.
If it's been there long enough. I don't know that Rennigan knows the word free.
I know.
But maybe you can wring a discount or two out of him.
But Rennie, I'm broke.
The door dings a little bell, which is probably the merriest sound you'll ever hear in this part, which doesn't match Rennigan at all. In fact, you can hear him grunting muffled frustrations behind the counter as he is trying to haul something in a box up.
Hey, Rennigan, you still trying to pass a shit from last year or what?
You hear a ah as he smacks his head on one of the countertops over him, and then a as the box goes everywhere, and he goes, "God damn it, Astrid!"
She's laughing.
And he just starts picking up the pieces and
parts?
throwing them into the box. Yep, they are now in more parts than they were from the start. And he slams the box down on the counter, and he's like, "You here to help or what?"
Did you need help? Things look pretty normal to me.
See, you still got that sharp tongue of yours.
Just on rare days. Oh god, gross. You're as disgusting as I remember.
Yeah, and you're just as snot-nosed as I remember.
Puts a finger over one nostril and makes like she's gonna blow his booger out. Dramatically, so he doesn't have time to stop her. No? No? Thoop.
She actually...
I'm just kidding. I know. It's disgusting. Nah, she just bluffs. Sandra's on. What are you doing here? What do you got? What do you need help with, Rennie?
He shoves several boxes expectantly in your direction. Yeah, I figured you'd want to look at those first.
Oh, first pickings. I feel so honored.
I think, actually, this would be a search check. So go ahead and roll me a search check. Let's see if you find anything useful.
I got a 9.
Okay, so you're starting to sort through the box, and you find yourself essentially what would be like a hard drive, and it looks like it's been fried, but maybe you could bring that back to life and use it for some storage. But the upside is that if it's broken, you could probably weasel out a really good discount for it.
Question, does it look like somebody broke it intentionally?
You know, that's a very good question. Let's do, like, a use technology.
7. God, I'm
7? Oh my gosh, these rolls.
I know.
It's hard to tell with the extent of the damage. Maybe they intentionally overloaded it or something. It looks like it's kind of... one of the circuits has been, like, fried out. So maybe they did it on purpose, maybe they didn't. Or maybe it was just overloading it.
Rennigan, this is busted beyond all repair. Can I just have it?
Now, why would you want something busted beyond all repair?
I don't know. I think it'd be good. Play fetch with Leaky or something.
He squints at you.
Oh, come on. Look at this place. You're such a hoarder. Look at this hard drive. Like, how are you going to sell this to anybody in this area? Let's be real.
Make a persuasion check with advantage. You bring up some really good points.
9?
Really? Okay. Astrid's just getting her... She's having a fucking
bad
day today.
day.
Yeah, it is not a good day.
I'm not bringing up so many good points.
So he crosses his thick arms over his chest, and he's a pretty burly dude. And when he can muster up a surly look towards you, boy howdy can he muster up a surly look.
I feel like she's pretty used to it, though.
Probably pretty used to it, but you know that look on his face. This is the... You're not gonna squeeze my money out of me look.
God, you're in such a bad mood today. Why?
Didn't get enough sleep last night.
You not get any sleep? You sleep like the dead. Why? What happened?
Never mind.
No, don't do that.
Look,
Run again.
Astrid, I'll give you a discount, but...
No. Now I want to know why you couldn't
still paying
sleep.
like everybody else.
No. Okay, yeah, I know good help around here is hard to find, okay?
Isn't that the truth?
Right? Uh-huh. Look, I'll come back and work a day a week here if you tell me what is going on here. What's the deal? You don't do that with me.
He raises a bushy eyebrow at you. He's like, you that interested in my life?
You're the only family I have, Rennigan. Seriously? God, it's only been a couple weeks since I saw you last.
He scratches the back of his head, and for the first time in a while, he looks embarrassed. He goes, look, you know that neighbor, whatever her fucking name is, Miss Pepper, whatever. She got this new guy coming around, and they're loud as a fucking weasel. You know what? It's too much.
Louder than the fucking weasel. What do weasels sound like?
Like screaming weasels out of the damn forest, Astrid! I can't take any more of it!
Yeah, that sounds pretty fucked up. Like, is it like a happy sort of screaming, or a bad sort of screaming? Like...
Both, I guess.
Both?
She's pretty damn happy from the look on her face.
Oh. You don't have a thing for Miss Pepper, do you?
Absolutely not.
Again!
Do a perception check for me.
Fuck. 16.
Absolutely not. He looks horrified and indignant by the very suggestion, and his eye even twitches a little bit.
That's okay, your secret's safe with me, Rennigan.
He... His face turns bright red, and he goes... and he turns around and shoves his way through the back door.
So which day a week do you want me here, huh?
Come tomorrow!
What's the
3 a.m.
No, I need... Okay, real talk, Rennigan.
He pokes his head back through the door.
Real talk, alright? I have a problem. I need to build another machine.
You have a problem?
Yes!
Boy,
yes.
didn't see that coming.
Rennigan, it has to do with my brother.
Ugh. Gee.
Yeah, look, I can't say too much. You know how it is. I don't know all of what's going on right now, but I do know that I need to set up... I failed to set up a virtual machine, and I'm not happy about it. You know I'm gonna figure it out, but in the meantime...
He raises his eyebrows, and
What?
his expression looks very surprised at that.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know, just so smart. I didn't see that ever happening to you. Listen, I got this shipment in the back. You can come look at it if you want.
Ah, shit. Thank you, Ren.
I mean, his head disappears back into the back room.
She moves quick. She knows when she should move quick.
So you scurry into the back room, and... oh boy, this place is worse than when you left. In fact, there's like a little alleyway to kind of like a little like S-shaped path through the wreckage. But you can see he's kind of like moved some boxes over for you already into this little area. And there is quite a collection of new pieces you hadn't seen yet.
Oh my holy Rookmire. This is some nice shit.
Yeah, well, I set it aside because I figured you might want to have a look at it first.
For me. You're the best.
He shrugs awkwardly.
She looks tempted to give him a hug, but neither of them are the huggy sort, so she's like,
he
right,
awkwardly shuffles out of the room.
Both of them do. They're like, oh, I have all this joy and love I want to express, but I can't do it.
If you've ever seen two people escape each other, that is kind of what just happened.
Yep.
They're like, yeah, cool.
Love you, man.
Yeah, and he leaves her to explore the wreckage.
Okay. Thank you, Rennigan. Alright, so she's looking at the stuff that's there. She's still got that broken hard drive in her hand, by the way.
That's fair. So you start sorting through, I imagine, like, the boxes, and it is quite a... Whew, there's a lot to sort through. So I'm gonna ask you to do another search check for me.
5.
5? Oh, it's getting worse.
I
I think you spend probably the better part of an hour stuck in a box that is like a tangled mass of wires. And unfortunately there doesn't seem to be any, like, useful, like, you find a mouse in there, but it's not a very good one, and it's already busted to shit.
Okay.
So if you want to keep looking, you can do that.
Leave it, Leaky.
he has his nose inside of one of the boxes, and he's digging away.
Finding anything?
He pulls his head up, and he's got like a sound system tangled and like stuck on his head.
Oh my god, you would. You would, wouldn't you? Can you find something more useful, please?
He barks quietly and shoves his head in a different box.
Oh my god, I love him.
And you can just see his fluffy tail wagging as he does it. Okay, what did you get with your roll?
I rolled a 1.
One.
This is fucked up. Waste of my fucking day.
Oh man, what a fucking bummer. I think that you probably are very enamored with Leaky to the point that you get distracted as he accidentally knocks over a box and, like, gets stuck underneath it and starts whimpering, and you have to go rescue him. And you find he's literally tangled in the cords.
Oh my god.
So you have to spend that time untangling him.
No, leave him tied up. Just...
You have another roll.
You got yourself into the mess. Get out.
Oh, are you just gonna leave him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I rolled another 5.
Oh my god, Moom. I'm just not with you right now.
Bubby, we're in big trouble if this is how things are gonna go.
This is big trouble. Okay, so you start digging around, and it's getting to the point where it's in the afternoon now.
There's gotta be something good here. He came into the special corner.
He brought you to the special corner, and you get the sense that there probably is something in here, but, like, because nothing is organized and nothing is, like, set up, it's just, you have to wade through so much. And, like, the unfortunate thing is, like, you love Rennigan, but he doesn't always necessarily know what you need. And so he tends to set aside anything he thinks you might need. And so, like, at one point, I think the thing you do pull away from this is that you find an old monitor that could probably work pretty well.
Oh.
So go ahead and write that down.
The monitor.
Yeah, old monitor. It probably needs, like, some soldering, but you could probably manage that.
Okay, but what about an actual system, like...
Unfortunately, you didn't roll high enough for that. But fortunately... You feel a little nuzzle at the corner of your arm.
Leaky? You do good bit fetch.
Leaky has done the big fetch, and he's actually found you, like, a case, which actually has, like, an old, a very basic setup for, like, a computer processor in it. It's not very good. And you don't actually even know how he got it over here?
Leaky, there's a reason we named you Good Luck.
He's just resting his head on it after he nudged your arm. And he's, like, wagging his tail.
That's awesome. I love it.
Alright. You have spent your beat here. Are you going to purchase your accessories that you have found?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you have? You have the,
Old monitor,
monitor.
old tower, and broken hard drive.
Yeah, okay. See some interesting components going on there.
Yeah, but I gotta come back tomorrow to work, so I can do some more exploring then.
Alright, so you go around to the counter, and I'm guessing you suggested that you would come here for some work on the premise you get a discount, yeah? Yeah, okay. So, Redigan rings you up. We're just gonna say 25 is the cost. So minus 25 from the currency.
Put it on my tab.
Put it on my tab. Redigan gives you a look like, Interesting finds you got there, Astrid.
Yeah, well, you know, like, the dog found a sound system, and it just, I don't know, I was enamored.
He is real cute. He looks at Leaky with a fondness that you've never seen him look at another human being with.
Aw, I know, right?
Anyway, yeah, let's get you checked out.
Wait, what?
Let's get you checked out, like, rung up. And he rings you all up and closes out the tab. You hand him, the money.
You know, we could probably find a bigger market for these things, shuffling them off into some other district.
Really? Where at?
Well, I mean, come on, like, who in this... Everybody here is miners or factory workers. How many of them actually know anything about fixing computers? You don't have anybody here fixing computers... Well, I'll be here tomorrow, but you know what I mean. Right?
And what? I'm just gonna move on up to the fancy Fairbury grounds and open up shop up there?
No, Renegade, I know the big imagination is kind of hard, right? You don't leave this area much, but...
He looks like he thinks he just got insulted, but he's not sure.
We all have our strong points.
He raises a bushy eyebrow at you.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, what if... I don't think anybody's ever done this before, come to think about it, but, like, a preset, a pre-build. There you go, pre-build. Right? Like, the people who come into parts and pieces already know something about these things, right?
Right.
They're adding something onto what they already have, or know how to put it together to some extent, right? And there's not very many. The rich folk, they don't really know that kind of thing, but they want to have something. You pre-build. So instead of just, like, parts and pieces, it's like everything. She puts across the way, like, take one of those old monitors and pair it with one of the old towers with all the peripheries, like mouse and keyboard and everything. Pair it all together, box it, and sell all of that all together.
Astrid, you're crazy then, Pickled Taffy. You know that, right?
Crazier than what?
Pickled Taffy.
Pickled taffy? That's disgusting.
Yeah. Real crazy, eh?
What? How is that crazy? You know what's crazy? This mountain of stuff. Like, some of these things were here before I started working here, and they're still here. Now being built on top of with other stuff that will probably still be here after you die. Renegade, you gotta clear out more than you're bringing in, or you're not making money.
Listen, Astrid, if you want to do this crazy pre-build idea you got going, come in tomorrow, and then come in the day after, and we'll work something out. I'll make sure you get a piece of the profit for that.
No, okay. That sounds like you're trying to get me here full time.
Well, I'd be crazy not to.
Okay, listen. Oh, Renegade. Shit. If life was easy, I would be here. Look, tomorrow I can set up what?
He grumbles something under his breath about excuses.
Tomorrow I'll set up 2 pre-builds and put them in boxes.
There is a flickering of the lights and the power goes out. He looks up and he goes, God damn it all.
Has that been happening a lot lately?
Yeah. These last few storms have been pretty bad.
Don't you have a generator?
Yeah, I've got it running. He shuffles over into the back.
It's not running now, is it? Looks around like...
No, it ain't running now.
Is the generator faulty?
Nah, I just gotta get it going.
Oh.
He shuffles off into the back and disappears. I want you to roll a perception for me.
Oh god. She's like, Leaky, come here.
Let me hug you.
Yeah, pretty much. 6.
Oh, man.
I know, this sucks.
You are leaning against the counter, waiting for Renegade to come back. And you hear Leaky's nails scrabble across the floor before he slams into the door and out into the street barking.
Oh, nope, Leaky. One-track chase mind. She's gonna go out that door for a hot minute and see what's up.
Yeah, so You go out the door and you see Leaky facing against something that you can't quite see fully, and his hackles are up, and he is barking. And it seems to be a person standing, but you can't quite make out their features.
Huh. She's gonna whistle for him.
Okay. I want you to roll another perception.
16.
16? Ooh.
Finally.
Leaky lunges at this person.
Oh shit.
And grabs onto their coat, yanking it down just enough for you to get a glimpse of a pair of very bright yellow eyes.
Ew.
And there's a flurry of motion, and you can hear Leaky yelp before the figure's gone.
She's gonna run to Leaky. Is he okay?
Leaky's okay. He's back on his feet, growling,
okay.
and he makes to lunge again, like he is going to go for a chase.
Leaky, no!
And I think it's at that moment where you probably, managed to get a hold of him.
Okay.
It's not a sort of determination that I think you're necessarily used to seeing him. I don't think it's very common for him to disobey something like this to try and pursue somebody, but he seems pretty set on it, to the point where you gotta, calm him down.
What the hell was that? He's okay, buddy. It's not okay, but...
He whines a little bit and, licks your hand, but he still seems a little bit worried. But he does calm down.
Okay, dude, remember, we gotta keep our heads straight, okay? You can't go running out the door like that on me, alright? We just do the scare off, but not the big attack. Okay? Not unless I say the get. Yeah?
His ears perk up when you say that.
No get right now.
His ears go down.
You okay, buddy? What hurt? That sounded painful.
He's not limping or anything. He's pretty okay.
Okay, alright. Turbo dog, let's go. Alright, we gotta make sure we get our stuff. Let's make sure Rennigan's alright. Power's back. Come on. Well, let's get back inside. This is spooky. That is weird. Do not like.
So you head back into Rennigan's, and after a moment or two of being inside, and you kind of, I'm sure at some point you glance back into the street, but there's really nobody in the streets right now. There's nobody lingering around when you look. And after a moment or two, the lights flicker back on, and you can hear the hum of the generator in the back. And Rennigan comes back in, and he looks a little wet because he had to walk out to the shed where the generator is, and he's kind of using a small hand towel to wipe himself off.
Rennigan, they're called umbrellas.
He's covered in...
She definitely looks a little shaken, though, a bit ashen in the face. She does not know what she just saw, but it did not seem human. They had bright yellow eyes. And she's never seen Leaky that upset, right? So she's just kind of okay, I'm gonna have to process this later.
Little weird, yeah, a little weird. He glances at her and he's like, Astrid, you okay? You look a little peaked.
I don't want to prove you right about Pickett's Taffy, so yes, I'm fine. Tomorrow I'll go over this box thing. I'll explain it tomorrow, okay? I gotta go do something. She grabs up her boxes. I'll see you tomorrow, Rennigan.
Sure. Have a good one, Astrid.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She's out the door.
She's already out.
She outs the door so fast that the door closes on Leaky's face. Oh. There's a pause for a second.
Bonks his snoot and he's he a little snort and then he has to paw it open.
No. I feel there's a pause for a second and there's the door awkwardly opens just enough to let him out.
He stares at it you gonna let me out or
yeah.
Alright, so you're back in the street outside of Parts and Pieces.
She's gonna glance up and down the street, just a slight paranoid.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet. It's getting close to the time where people would probably start to come home from the factories. So I suppose in one way you could easily explain maybe you ran into somebody coming home early.
with bright yellow eyes that Leaky absolutely hated.
Sure.
Mm.
Maybe he was just tricking the light, you know?
I don't know. I feel like he doesn't normally lose his composure that bad over people.
Yeah, that part's a little weird. She's probably never seen him quite like that before.
She's gonna make her way over to her mom's flat.
Okay. Are you gonna carry everything there?
Well, yeah. What else am I gonna do with it?
I'm gonna drop it off at your apartment.
I gotta walk all the way back?
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That's a way to go.
It's a long way to carry all your shit, though. Alright. So are you gonna take the short way there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're passing through some of the areas where, as you're walking through, you can see some of the people that are at work right now, and you get some looks as you're passing. Probably a little bit more interest than you're fully comfortable with. But you manage to make it up to Miss Tari's flat management, which is a pretty, not the best area, but, Miss Tari runs a comfortable ship, so to speak, so you are relatively left alone once you hit this part of the area.
Shh. Is it gonna be too much for her to stop by real quick to chat with Miss Tari?
No, she can stop by.
Okay.
How old do you imagine Miss Tari is?
Like in her 60s.
Okay, so she's older.
On her way.
Yeah. Especially in this place. You stop into the business area.
Like the little office?
Yeah, the little office building. You open the door, and she's right where you would really expect her to be, kind of at the desk.
With like a million cats.
Yeah, like, how is Leaky?
Oh, Leaky grew up with them, because Miss Tari is the one that found Leaky, so he's probably going to say hi to all of his favorite cats.
One, like, curls up underneath his nose
Yes.
and, like, enticingly presses its tail against his snoot. The cat greeting. And,
Yeah.
Miss Tari, like, I imagine, like, running a business in this area, the years have probably not been very kind to her.
No.
So she probably looks much older than her age.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't think you actually did, like, a visual description of her, did you?
I see her as being like, kind of like the old hippie look.
Yeah, like,
She's got a lazy eye.
She has, like, the graying hair that she's kind of, like, pulled up into a bun, and there's, like, pieces falling, like, strings falling down. And she kind of has, like, one of those looser shirts, and she smiles as you enter and gives you a little wave. In fact, she's probably, at this very moment, got one in between her fingers.
And she's gonna, "Hey, Miss T," as she casually reaches across with graspy fingers.
Hey, how's it going?
It'll be going better if you share some of that.
Oh. And she very slowly hands it to you. It's kind of in a pipe, like, in, like, one of those long-stemmed pipes.
Yeah.
And she exhales a long plume and relaxes back into her chair. And her eyes kind of droop shut a little.
Hey, Miss T, how you been?
I'm good. How are you, Astrid?
Yeah. She takes a drag. Better, thank you. Hands it back.
I'm glad to hear that. What brings you over here?
Yeah, straight to the point. I always love that about you, Miss T. So, has anybody been in my mom's apartment lately?
And her eyes open a little bit, but mainly because she's lifting one of her eyebrows at you very, very high. Very high. And she goes, visiting some old memories today, are we?
No. It's just I think somebody's been in her apartment that wasn't me.
Ah, silly girl. I haven't let anybody in there.
Well, maybe you didn't let anybody in. Maybe somebody let themselves in. You get what I mean?
She waves away a plume of smoke and glances over to where all the key rings are hung up, and she goes, didn't see anybody in there.
Miss Tari, have you done any tarot readings for me lately?
Not for you, no.
Not for me.
Did one for your mom the other night. Had the weirdest dream.
She's like refraining from telling Miss T that her mom's dead. What was it? What happened? She reaches for the pipe again, like, hand it over, I'm not stoned enough.
What happened where, hun?
The dream. You did a tarot reading for my mom?
Mm-hmm.
You just said?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What's this about a dream?
She stares at her pointedly. She's like, hey, Miss T.
Huh?
Look at me.
Yes?
Have you done a tarot reading for me lately?
She looks a little guilty.
What? I'm family. You're not looking out for me? You know, the family that's still alive? Miss T.
Would you like a tarot reading, hon?
You're just saying that to make up for not doing them for me when I'm not here.
Caught me a little flat-footed, dear. She looks a little sad. She's like, oh.
Alright, fine. I'll let you make it up to me. Just one card, though. I gotta stop by Mom's apartment after this.
Don't forget the key, okay? She points up to the key area.
I won't.
She seems to liven up, and she reaches over for her deck, and she displays it out in front of you. You pick a card now?
Yep. She just reaches at random.
You draw the Empress, reversed.
Whoa.
She kind of like lifts her eyebrows, and she goes, see, now that's what I was talking about.
What?
See, I had this really weird dream the other night.
You did?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I can't remember exactly what happened, but in it, your mom was calling to me.
Like, calling, Miss Tari, or like...
Exactly like that.
What do you think it means?
She pets, like, a cat, like, curls around her ankles. She goes, I think it means that she loves you, hon.
Oh my god. Yeah, I sure hope so. I spent a lot on that grave plot. She goes over to the key rack to get her mom's apartment key.
Mind your step up there.
Oh, obviously, as she's walking, she turns to say, Miss T, what does the Empress mean? And trips. She's in the middle of rolling her eyes.
She's like, obviously. That is beautiful. I love that so much. So from her perspective, she'd probably say something along the lines of like, don't forget your role in society, hon.
What?
Oh, and it is the pinnacle of conventional femininity, so don't forget your feminine side.
Oh, but Miss T, it's reversed. Doesn't that mean something?
It means you've forgotten your feminine side, dear.
I get it every month. It reminds me. Thank you very much.
Oh, dear.
Okay, she's gonna grab the key. Is it there?
Roll a perception check.
12.
You see Miss T look at the card and give it a prolonged look before shuffling it back in the deck.
What the fuck? Why would she do that? Anything I should be worried about, Miss T?
She kind of scratches her head a little bit. I suppose you should be careful who you look to for comfort, dear.
I don't... Excuse me? Well, I got my dog.
It's what the cards say.
Looks at Leaky. Do I need to worry about you? He's like smothered in cats, looking totally pleased with himself.
He's sitting there, like, just panting, looking really happy, and they're all, like, on, like, top of him and, like, curled up onto him and, like, in his fur. He's got one, like, curled up on his head.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do need to worry about you. You got a whole coven of cats. How can I compete with that?
He's got all the ladies.
Dang, Miss T. I was beginning to think you're getting a little rusty at the tarot readings, but you got me leaving here, paranoid as usual.
Oh, dear. Can I get you some tea? You know that's not what I'm trying to do.
I cannot, unfortunately.
She's already up and shuffling over to go get the tea kettle.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, well, if she does that, she's gonna grab the apartment keys.
Okay. It's up there, right where, and there's probably a little bit of a moment of, like, a memory of reaching for these keys before, probably many times. And so you grab them, they're right exactly where they're supposed to be.
She stuffs them in her pocket.
After a moment, she comes back out with a cup of tea for you. Here, dear.
Do I need to be careful that there's something in here? I mean, you just gave me a major warning.
Just a normal gray.
Okay, well, thanks. You don't happen to have any more advice to give, huh? Sip, sip.
What do you need advice for, hun?
Ugh.
She leans forward and squints at you. Does like a quick over Hun, were you down by Ashampton today?
What? What? No. What makes you think that?
You know how that makes you feel.
Huh? It looks really uncomfortable. Starts guzzling the tea. It's hot.
I just picture her face like
burned her throat, yeah. Tries to gulp.
She leans back in her seat and she goes, well, if you need to talk to somebody, you're always welcome here.
There's nothing to talk about, Miss T. Puts the teacup down. Come on, Leaky, we gotta go.
As you pull him out from under cats. Cats go flying. Most land on their feet. Some potato. So he trots with you as you re-enter the gray world of Rookmire.
Alright, she's gonna head on down to her mom's apartment.
Okay. Now, do you think that they lived downstairs or upstairs?
Upstairs, probably.
Okay. You head upstairs, and the old flat is kind of tucked into a little bit of a corner upstairs. And there's nothing peculiar about the door that stands out, but all the same, there's something about this walk towards that door that strikes a chord in your memory. And not just your memory, but re-entering a memory that you know has a lot attached to it.
Delightful. Which is particular memory, or just the routine of walking down that hall to the apartment?
The routine walking down to that hall definitely has a familiarity to it, and as well as everything that is kind of connected with this room, this flat. Really what this flat encompasses is all the memories of living together with them, which is probably pretty bittersweet.
So she also, Astrid does have, she kind of has a habit of not intentionally doing it, but where she'll reach out and she'll touch parts of the walls or whatever. I want to run a search check to see if anything stands out, because as she's approaching the door, she's probably going to move a little slowly and be a little bit more observant, not just because of the emotional affects of it, but because she is of the assumption that somebody's physically been at this address that should not have been.
Okay, so she's probably going to be going through this pretty carefully. So that kind of gives me a sense for what you're looking for. So let's reverse it a little bit to the moment when you are at the door. You are probably going to be inspecting that door first, right? So go ahead and roll a, I want you to roll a...
11.
11. Either way, it's 11, right? I was thinking this would... We're going to go with a general search check, but I was thinking something inspecting the door. And so based off of this roll, it doesn't appear if somebody got in, that they got in through the front door. There doesn't seem to be any signs of forced entry, and the lock seems to be working still correctly, and you probably take a moment to make sure that the lock unlocks with the key, turn around and check the deadbolt when you come in, and everything seems to be working fine as far as the door is concerned. You step into this apartment, this little flat. Roll a perception for me.
15.
Okay. The first thing that you notice as you step in is little specks of dust floating around that are kind of stirred.
She's not going to step all the way into the apartment right away.
Yeah, okay. I think as Leaky steps in, little, motes of dust float up from his feet.
Leaky, wait.
He stops and he sits directly on the threshold and starts wagging his tail.
No, stop! Fuck, don't move! Freeze!
He just stops and stares directly ahead, unblinking.
Good boy, hold. So she looks at the floor to see if he didn't obliterate any evidence of somebody stepping into the threshold.
It's hard to tell now that a bunch of dirt has been disrupted, but you assume that a trail would continue into the room, and there doesn't seem to be a trail continuing into the room.
Whoa. This is the ultimate detective scene. Okay, Leaky, easy.
He exhales, and you get the sense...
He's holding his breath.
Yeah,
oh
was
my
that dog
God.
holding his breath?
That's so cute. Oh my god. So she's gonna kind of look about and see if anything is not the way she left it. Like, I'm sure she covered the furniture with like white cloth and stuff to protect it from dust. But she's gonna take a look around the room without, like, trying to avoid disrupting anything. She's gonna try and take a look around the room to see if anything has been moved, displaced, if there's, you know, and again, kind of employing her investigative/detective skills.
So I imagine there's probably so there's probably like a living room attached to a kitchen, and there's probably 3 bedrooms. So your mother's bedroom.
I feel like this is the poor district, and there would have only been 2, and she would have had to share a room with her brother
Okay, that's fair to say.
or her mom, one or the other.
Yeah. So you have the like master bedroom, and then you have like the other bedroom, smaller one, and then you have the like kitchen connected to the living area.
Yeah.
And so you kind of, as you enter this like kitchen connected to the living area, there's the appliances, of course, are still there, but they've all been kind of disconnected, so they're not running constantly. And then you see, of course, like there's the sofa, like the couch that you guys had, still kind of covered over in a sheet. And there's kind of a table in front of it, which is also still covered over in a sheet. And as you walk in, I think one of the things you probably primarily notice is that you leave little, like, footprints in the dust as you walk in.
Right.
Probably more likely soot than dust, but...
That's so odd. Wiki, we got ghosts. What? No.
Head tilt.
God, if I knew better, you're on the side of wanting to be a ghost hunter, aren't you? Oh my god. Head shake.
He trots into the kitchen, snarfs around. Snarfs is a great word for a dog. Snarfs around the kitchen for a little bit.
Snore, snore, snore.
Sneezes as his nose gets covered in dust and trots down the hallway.
Begrudgingly follows. Swear to God, dog was a reincarnated human.
Like, he's sniffing around the hallway. He seems pretty relaxed right now, but he seems somewhat interested in the bedrooms in particular.
What are you looking for there, Leaky?
He wags his tail.
He's just sniffing at the air?
He's sniffing around the floor, and you can kind of see where his nose is, like, trailed through the dust. Left, like, little smear marks.
She walks up next to him and stares at the spot on the floor. There's nothing here.
He sits down and wags his tail,
No, Leaky, there's nothing here.
and he tilts his head.
So which room did he go to? Mom's room or brother's room?
So he sat down in front of the first one, which would probably be the smaller bedroom. So that would be, like, your brother's room.
You're killing me, dog. Slowly opens the door.
It's empty.
What does Leaky do?
He trots inside and sniffs around, and you can see his nose trailing through the soot. There is a window that looks out over the rainy streets to factories, which are coughing up dark smoke into the sky. That is the view you see directly outside the window.
Gross.
Iliki, like, jumps up to, like, puts his paws up on the sill, stares out, seems to lose interest, and starts sniffing around somewhere else, around the floor.
She's gonna look around the room to see if anything is out of sorts.
Roll a search check for me.
Oh my god. 4.
4.
I'm a detective. I cry.
So, it's a little hard to kind of, like, find information with Leaky rubbing his nose all over the floor. But one thing is for certain, there is a thick layer of soot in this room as well.
Is the window open?
The window is not open.
What? That doesn't make any sense. Which room has the computer?
Fair question. Which room does have the computer?
I don't think her mom or her brother would have been into using computers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would have been in the living room. I could see Astrid crashing mostly on the couch.
So you're heading back out to the living room?
Not quite. I mean, she's gonna head back out into the hallway and look at her mom's door.
Okay. Question. Is it open?
I imagine they would both be closed.
Okay.
That's how she would have left it.
Leaky pokes his nose at the door.
At Mom's door?
Yeah. It's hard to tell if he's, like, tracking something or if he's genuinely just interested in the parts he hasn't seen yet.
It is. Leaky, I don't want to go in there.
He sits down and stares at you.
Why? Why are you doing this to me?
Head tilt.
You look at me like that, it's torture. She reluctantly reaches out and slowly turns the knob. But before she opens it, she goes, okay, this time I need you to stay right here. Stay here. Stay. Wait.
He stares at you with big gooey eyes.
No. You need to stay. Stay until I say otherwise. You know that word. You stay. She opens the door and looks in.
I want you to roll a strength check for me.
I'm scared. 12.
The door, like, the handle turns, but the door seems stuck.
What the fuck? She looks down at the floor. She gets down on her hands and knees and looks underneath the jamb to see if there's anything in the way of the door.
Leaky licks your face.
Leaky, stop! That's gross. You were seriously cleaning the cats like 10 minutes ago. This is nasty. Off.
There doesn't seem to be anything in front of the door.
The heck? Okay, so she's gonna look through the keyhole.
There doesn't seem to be anything in front of the door.
This doesn't make any sense. She's gonna try and shove the door open.
Okay, roll a strength check.
17.
17.
Yeah, fucking finally.
You shove your shoulder into it, and with it gives way, and then stops as if somebody held their hand out and slammed it back. And it slams shut, but then swings open slowly.
Vomit. She's like, okay, well, I'm done. Let's get out of here. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm done.
She's gonna stand there in a state of dumbfounded shock, like, that does not make any sense. Trying to rationalize. Somebody put a spring wire into the hooks or the...
Leaky starts nudging his face into the door. Through the open crack.
Tempted to send the dog in first, but...
He's going in. He starts disappearing through the crack.
Leaky, I said stay!
He stops and backs out and stares at you.
You know better. When we go to crime scenes, you don't just go tromping in. You know that.
He whines and lays down, lays his head flat.
Come on, man. Always keep professional face on. Got it?
Sits up, gets all serious looking.
That's my man. Slowly pushes the door open, but without moving, just staying where she is. She just kind of tries to push it open to see if it'll float the rest of the way.
It's empty inside.
There's nothing in there?
There is a single piece of something in the middle of the room.
There's no footprints in the dust or soot or whatever?
Nope.
Where did all her stuff go?
Good question.
Leaky, investigate.
He stands up like, really?
Yes, go. Go look at it.
Sticks his nose to the ground and starts
Get to work, dog.
sniffing around. And he immediately goes to whatever's in the middle of the room, sniffs it, seems to lose interest, and starts sniffing the rest of the room. Eventually he sits down and tilts his head.
Oh, where does he sit down at?
He sits down next to the thing in the center of the room.
What does it look like? Can I tell what it might be from where I'm at?
It looks like a little piece of metal.
She hesitantly walks in to take a closer look at it.
It appears to be a little piece of, a data chip.
What the fuck?
Is that what Astrid says? Or is that what Moo says?
So Astrid's thinking, because, how does somebody place that? Somebody removes all the furniture, and there's not a single disturbance of the soot or the dust. No footprints, no nothing. There's no... How did that get there without anybody leaving any trace of anything else? So yeah, she's like, what the fuck? Okie dokie. She picks it up.
Yeah, it is a little piece of some kind of data chip. It looks like it's missing most of, like, a case or a housing or something that you would use to connect to a computer, but it is definitely some kind of data chip.
This is gonna disturb me greatly. I am certain of it. She's probably gonna take it, like, I imagine she set the box down when she came in.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably gonna take one more glance around the room before taking it over and storing it inside of something inside the box so it's safe. Somewhere
it probably is not going to get rained on.
Right.
Yeah. Don't want wet technology.
No.
So you can add that data chip to your list.
Done and done. Data chip from Mum's house. Alright, Leaky, let's go figure out who used our computer.
He gets up and trots out into the kitchen. He actually opens up the fridge and starts snuffling around in the fridge.
Is there anything left in there, Leaky?
He definitely has a hold of something.
She looks over to see what it is, because it can't be anything good in the fridge.
It's a very old, rotten, like, piece of bread, and he's starting to scarf it.
Oh my god, that's disgusting! Drop it, now!
He looks like he's half unsure if he should scarf it faster.
No!
But he's slowly like, bleh.
God. He's... dog. Why? Takes it, chucks it into the sea, and chucks it out the window.
So she opens up the window.
Chucks it. Slams the window shut.
A big plume of dust envelops you as you open the window.
This is disgusting. Oh, God.
You're now covered in, like, dust and soot.
This is not my day. Not my day, Leaky.
He whines a little bit and lays down.
Not helping.
He looks very sad that you stole his one treat.
I didn't steal it. You opened the fridge. That is gonna make you sick, you dum-dum.
Sad doggo.
Look, we'll stop at the mixing house and pick you up a snacky, okay?
His tail starts to wag again, and he sits up.
Okay, alright, thank you. Now, let me do one productive thing today. She turns towards the computer.
Yeah, so there's probably a sheet over it, right?
Yeah, and is that sheet look disturbed in any way?
Well, one way to find out. 9. It doesn't take much to figure this out. As you touch it, plumes of dust come off of the sheet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they used their own computer and floated on in like a fucking ghoul, because there's no fucking footprints anywhere. Jesus Christ.
I love the attitude.
So she looks it over and... Ooh, I know how I'd find out. I'm gonna go boot up to DOS and see what the last login was on the computer.
Okay, so you pull the sheet off and you turn the computer on, right?
Yeah.
I guess it probably wouldn't be DOS in this world, but it's the loose equivalent to DOS, right?
Gray dust.
When was the last time you signed in?
When was the last time Astrid signed in?
Yeah.
Had to be a year or two ago, yeah?
Yeah. That is the last sign-in that you see on the computer.
So they couldn't have used this computer, Leaky. They couldn't have.
As you are staring at the sign-in,
I feel like you're gonna say something that's gonna make me pee myself.
you see the screen kind of blips a little bit, and all the sign-ins are gone.
Squints at the computer. Huh. She needs to run some diagnostics to see if anything's been installed on the computer that shouldn't have been.
That's gonna take you a little bit. You're gonna have to take this computer home.
No, it's cursed.
No, it's got the devil in it, obviously. Not taking that home.
Ugh, God.
Or you can leave the diagnostics running overnight and come check on it tomorrow. That's an option as well.
I mean, she's like thinking out loud here. Like, part of me feels like it would be obvious then to whoever floated on in here like a ghost and magically used the computer through this dusty ass sheet. What the hell? You left your freaking footprints everywhere, Leaky.
Leaky's asleep on the ground already.
It's not my day. I feel like this is bad luck. I don't believe in luck. That's not true. I did name him Good Luck. Oh, I feel so conflicted. I guess it's gonna be so heavy. She starts unplugging everything and she's complaining about how much she doesn't want to take the computer home with her.
Yep.
Stuffing the pieces into the box.
Yeah. That's a really heavy box at this point.
Yep.
You're gonna have a slow trudge home.
It was just a perfect cap on a shitty day. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, very much so. I think Leaky just naps as he waits for you. You all set up? Is that the last thing you want to do here?
I don't know. I'm realizing that I kind of wish that I had checked to see if the keys had covered in dust or not, but I did not. Sloppy of me.
To be fair, you would probably know that Miss Tari does, dust the keys regularly enough, and probably touches them and moves them around enough that it probably would not have been covered anyways.
That's fair. Leaky, you know it would make you really useful?
His ear flickers.
If you were a sled dog. To teach you to pull a little cart.
That would be so cute.
Alright, buddy. Picks up the boxes. Sooner we get home, sooner you get snacky.
He is immediately up. He's like, okay.
Figured.
Also, as something you may notice, is that outside the rain, rather than lightening up, even though it's been drizzling all day, has started to get heavier. And as the afternoon has started to draw towards an evening, you realize that it's probably going to be a bit of a stormy night tonight. In fact, it's probably going to start pouring on your way home.
Well, that's not ideal. I do not want to spend the night here. I got the heebie-jeebies. She's gonna scurry on down to Miss Tari's and stay the night there.
Oh, so she's gonna sleep in Miss Tari's flat with the equipment and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see her sleeping in this apartment, especially after, she's conflicted now because she's certain that somebody was there, but there's no evidence of anyone having been there.
Okay. So, I imagine Miss Tari probably has, a little spare bedroom.
Also, gross.
What?
Everybody that used to live there besides her is dead, so...
Yeah.
I mean, she's not gonna get any sleep.
No, that's a real uncomfortable situation, I feel like. So Miss Tari probably has, a little guest bedroom that, she lets you sleep in. She glances at you a little worriedly, looking at the big heap of stuff you have, before, being like, alright, dear, well, do you want any tea before bed?
Yeah, and Miss Tari, I promised Leaky I'd give him a snacky.
Oh, of course, anything.
Thank you.
I love that that's what she's worried about, the snacky.
Look, she promised. She can't lie.
She promised, so... Okay. Yeah, Miss Tari comes back with, she doesn't have much, but she managed a few slices of, some kind of meat that was probably the night before.
Astrid takes a nibble before giving the rest to Leaky.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And then she brings you a nice warm cup of tea.
Oh. Astrid definitely looks like she wants to ask a question, but she's really uncomfortable. I can imagine her curled under, one of the throw blankets that was sitting across the chair.
Yeah.
Probably an old throw blanket she's used to, wrapping around herself all the time when she visits Tari.
Yeah, and the mattress is a little musty, but, has a familiar enough smell.
It's home.
Yeah, then, it's home. Alright, so Miss Tari, she looks a little apprehensive about leaving you there, but then, heads off to, wish you a good night. And closes the door behind you. She's like, if you need anything, you know where to find me.
She looks at Tari like she still really wants to ask a question. She's ashen.
She's lingering in the doorway, and that way, if you need anything.
Miss Tari?
Yes, dear?
What was the last thing you and Mom talked about before she died?
Ooh, that's a real big one there, hun.
I feel like I need to know.
Well, listen, I figure I'd do right by you by telling you. But maybe you come back on a little bit of a better night and we can sit and chat about that, yeah?
Okay.
She glances kind of uncomfortably out the window and is like, it just seems like a bad night for that kind of talk, you know?
No, I don't know.
She looks at you like... Oh, child. Listen, you come back after hauling off that stuff and stares at the mound of stuff, and we'll have a nice long talk, okay?
Okay.
She lingers for another moment before closing the door.
It's dark in here. Leaky, come here.
Leaky jumps up on the bed and curls up on top of you.
Man, I don't know if she's actually gonna get any sleep tonight. She saw a strange ghostly figure that just vanished into the fog with bright yellow eyes. Somebody sent a signal from her mom's apartment without leaving any dust, or moved all the furniture out of her mom's room without leaving a trace, but left behind a chip. None of that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's probably gonna be churning on that all night.
I think it's safe to say that maybe around, like, the early morning, she eventually passes out, yeah?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. After quite a fitful night, tossing and turning.
Well, it's hard to toss and turn when a dog's laying on you, but
That's
yeah.
true, when you've got a really big dog on you.
Tossing and turning internally.
You wake up kind of groggily, and you're vaguely aware that it's not yet morning, and you can kind of hear the storm that is buffeting the window outside. And as your hand kind of slides off the edge of the bed, you feel a fuzzy nose under your hand. I want you to roll a perception check for me.
Creepy. 16.
Okay. The fuzzy nose nuzzles into your hand, and for a moment it's kind of like, Leaky, I know, the storm's pretty scary. But then you become aware of a deep, guttural growling from Leaky, who is standing upright over you.
That would wake her up pretty quick.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What is it, Leaky?
Well, the question is, what is your hand on?
Yeah, I don't know. She's gonna draw it away really quickly.
Yeah?
And sit upright and look in whatever direction Leaky's looking.
Leaky is staring over the edge of the bed where your hand was a moment ago.
Creepy! What is it, Leaky?
His hackles are on end.
What is that? What is it? Is there a light somewhere?
Maybe. You have to lean over and turn on the lamp.
Creepy! Get it!
Leaky's not leaving the bed.
Oh god. Can I fumble for a light somewhere?
Are you gonna reach over?
I'm scared.
Well, there's a few choices here, right? What will you do in this moment?
It's hard though, right? Because it was just nuzzling her hand, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, how far does she have to reach over to get the light?
It's over on the dresser next to the bed.
She has no other source of light?
I would say that's the primary source.
But does she have, matches in her pocket? She smokes cigarettes.
Okay, if you want to whip out a match.
Yeah, she just want to get out of bed. She's protected by Leaky and he's not moving.
Yeah.
So she lights a match real quick.
You strike a match. And you can see vaguely that Leaky is standing over you, and his eyes are trained over the edge of the bed. Like, he's looking where the edge of the bed. You can see the vague outline of something on the floor next to your bed. Something large and furry.
Can I tell what it is?
It's a small light. You have to lean a little closer if that's what you want.
I feel like he wouldn't bark and snarl at one of the cats. She's gonna lean a little closer.
You lean a little bit closer. And you see, kind of distorted by the flickering of the light and the shadows that kind of coalesce, something who the major bulk of it is under your bed. Except for the large, furry, vaguely canine-shaped head that is craned back at a 90-degree angle, staring straight up at you with large, anguished, yellow eyes. And then your match goes out.